Hey, so for today's video is we're gonna be trying out something different. I'm gonna be reading some Reddit stories, and I have ten Reddit stories to read for you guys, and you can just listen to me talk about those stories while I play Minecraft. And the objective here is we're gonna be trying to find a place to live because this is a fresh new world. I don't know what to do, but let's find a place to build our place and see how it goes from there. So, enough of me yapping. Let's get on with the stories. Okay, so here's the first Reddit story. We're gonna go on to the subreddit relationship advice, and we got a poster here saying that her boyfriend, 26M, cheated on her for $250. Wow. Okay, so this is gonna be an interesting read. All right, so here's how it goes. So, me and my boyfriend have been together for about 4 years. We've had our ups and downs, but overall, we had a really solid relationship. We live together and have been struggling financially a lot recently. It's mostly due to our college debt. My boyfriend also can't work more than 3 hours per day because of several mental disorders. Our parents on both sides are not really in the picture. Well, a few nights ago, my boyfriend went out with me, which is usually fine with me. According to him, he told his friends he wouldn't drink much because he needed to save up. His friends were already really drunk and told him how he became so bland and annoying recently. He couldn't have any fun anymore, and one of them said he would give him $250 if he cheated on me. This friend has never really liked me and has often made weird comments like how my boyfriend could have done way better or how boring I made him. I know he cheated on his ex girlfriend several times. Well, long story short, he did it. My boyfriend made out with a random girl at the bar and went home with her. The worst part is he didn't even tell me. I found out 2 days after through a hey girly text from the girl he cheated with. I immediately confronted him and he owned up to everything. He cried, said he was sorry, and that he just did it for the money. He wanted us not to be stressed about the money, and he did buy groceries for us with it. I have been avoiding him as much as possible since then, and he has been trying his hardest to make up. I don't know what to do. I feel extremely betrayed, but I believe that he really did it for the money. How can I move on from this situation? You know, this is messed up. It's messed up cuz the boyfriend had friends and the friends knew that this guy had a partner. So knowing that this guy has a partner, or yeah, knowing that his friend has a partner, why would this friend even say that, hey, go cheat on your girlfriend, I'll give you $250? That's messed up. That's messed up. And the girl here saying if it the girl saying here that if it was wrong that she's avoiding the guy for doing this because the guy said he just did it for the money. No. This is basically a relationship. The guy basically cheated. That's basically it. Like, with or without the freaking money, $250, the guy freaking kissed another woman while being in a relationship, and the girl is totally valid for the for being angry. It's it's just so wild. It's just so wild. This is a wild story. That's one way to put up the first the first story there. Well, moving on to the second Reddit story is we're going on to the subreddit again, relationship advice, and we have a Reddit poster saying that his wife, 58F, heard a voice on his computer, and now that wife is thinking that he's cheating. Interesting. Let's see how this goes. How to make this short? Well, I can't. I am being accused of cheating. Roughly an hour ago, my wife was cooking dinner for us, and we were just conversating about current life events. I got up to go to the restroom and went into our bedroom and told Amazon's Alexa to turn on the lights. I had no idea whether this is relevant, but just read on. 90 seconds later, I re entered the kitchen and my laptop sits on the dining room table. I use it a lot and it's kind of my quote unquote office. And when I came back into the kitchen, she says, "Who the hell are you talking to on your computer?" I'm baffled. She says that a female voice came from my computer saying, "We shouldn't be here right now." Yo, that's weird. I just gotta say that. I honestly don't have any clue. What I have open on my computer is Discord, but I have no voice channels open, and the only one I use is one particular channel for day trading. But voice, it's not really open. Firefox, it did have multiple tabs, and there's various YouTube tabs that are open but not listened to. I kind of queue them to watch or listen to throughout the day. One on the F-22 Raptor and several stock trading videos, or diesel, engine mechanics, political insider trading, geology, and golf. And they're all still open, so I don't change a thing as I type this. None of this would remotely have that phrase, "we shouldn't be here right now." Well, the other Firefox tabs, there's Facebook, brokers, stock charts, and several stock related tabs. And of course, now some searches about random voices coming from the phone or computer. None of the Google answers seem plausible to this, and I do understand tech to a relatively high degree, or not because I'm still baffled and have no explanation. This is a relatively new computer, and I don't have any detectable malware. While I have had YouTube channels play randomly, it's not been an issue with this new computer. And again, those open tabs wouldn't have that phrase. Extraneous factors, it's summer. Our back door is open and the front windows are open. And our neighbors aren't particularly close, but you can't hear people outside. It's not it. But I'm trying to think of every explanation. Alexa. Okay. We obviously know her voice, and she says that's not it. So I'm baffled. And now she thinks I'm cheating. She's welcome to look at my histories both on my phone and computer. Because I do not cheat. I'm a faithful and loyal. Well, do I ever watch porn? Yeah, occasionally. But I'm visual. I haven't ever paid for or quote unquote joined any type of related group, nor spoken slash interacted. Ever freaking ever, for emphasis. So I think my marriage is now on the rocks, and I cannot find an explanation, which looks even worse. I'll now add some context. In a nutshell, we have been dealing with close relatives that are in the middle of a cheating battle. It's awful and has a very directly affected our lives. Although nothing any action in our parts, their situation fell in our laps. It is recent, and so it is raw. The timing of this is just so random. That phrase could not have come at a worse time. Had I heard this coming from her computer in a male's voice, well, I too would be pretty livid. But it is guilty until proven innocent. And I can't find a reason that doesn't make me look like I'm covering my ass. Because I'm not. But my face value has a limited worth. She will never trust me again, but I've never done anything that would make her question that. So, my question is, has anybody heard of something like this? My choices are it would be the computer, the phone, maybe Alexa, the neighbors, and I can't think or see anything else as I look around the room. I typed that last sentence about looking around the room, and it struck me. And this will only resonate with a pretty small subset in this group. We are semi gamers. Yeah, this old. And we play Diablo. Sometimes we play Diablo as we eat dinner and to kind of finish off the night before bed. I set the game up before dinner. If you've played Diablo, then you know that when you are in a town and hit an attack button on the controller, the game says in a female voice, "You can't do that right now." The controllers were sitting by the couch, and we have a cat and dogs who occupy that couch as much as we do. Eureka, said I. Not really, I'm older, but not that old. That's it, I just said in my head. I went down the hallway to inform my wife she's not in bed, but sleeping in the guest room, pissed off. But I still tried to explain the similarity. We can't be here right now, what she heard, and you can't do that right now from the game. Nope, she knows what she heard, and it came from my computer. And I'm still a cheater, and now I'm just trying to cover my ass. Quote, I'm sleeping alone tonight. She's pissed, and that explanation is the only one I have. And it still might be a divorce after all the trauma we've been through lately, and it's pertinent. But I obviously get wordy, so I won't get into it unless I need to. And I realize my writing might be odd, especially in the crisis this really is at this moment. It's just the way I write. If any of you have made it this far, please tell me if you have any explanation for why it would come from my computer. She's insistent that's where it came from, and so be it. So far, I've got nothing. The guy here, I feel bad for the guy, because it would have been probably the Diablo game, or Diablo. It would have been probably Diablo, and that NPC would have said that, and the wife here, she is in the right to be angry, of course, because of course if the husband did find out that there's like this guy who said in her computer this set of words in a sentence, then the guy would also be pissed. He would also be mad. But a proper explanation or a proper communication would just be able to settle all of it, really. So honestly, what what really lack here is just communication on both parts, and just the physical understanding of both parties, really. But that was an interesting read. Okay, going to the third story is we're gonna go back to the subreddit, or we're gonna go to the subreddit. I mean, am I the a hole? And we have a poster here saying that are they the a hole for leaving a trip early because it got too expensive? Hmm. Let's see what happens. I, female 28, went on a bachelorette for the weekend. And prior to the trip, I let the group chat know that I'm on a budget and need to know the expenses in advance before I can agree. We all agreed on around $500, which I thought was doable. Before getting there, we paid for the hotel and ride around since we were drinking, which was around $300. We split it to where the bride wouldn't pay for these, which I was fine with. Then, when I arrived, we had our dinner planned and went to a fancy restaurant. I ordered the cheapest meal, and then one of the girls took the bill and paid. And the following day, I asked how much the tip is to pay my portion. The girls responded to just split the check, and I said no to my meal. It was nothing compared to them, and they expected us to pay for the bride for everything she's ordered, the entire trip, while she was getting the most expensive meals and drinks slash flights at places. Then said, "Why would you come here and not pay for everything for her? I understand paying for certain things for the bride, but I wasn't expecting to pay for her entire trip. Other bachelorettes I've been on didn't do that. However, if they would have told me in advance, I could have planned. Everyone, everyone knew but me. I told the bride that the girls were rude and that I can't afford to stay and I'm uncomfortable. She said it was fine and she appreciated my time. Keep in mind, I wasn't invited to the wedding because she couldn't afford it. Then uninvited me to the bridal shower and as a friend. And this story, honestly, it, it's just the friends, really. Like the, it seemed like the bride here was pretty understanding, and the other woman here were just like why can't you pay for her? Like we all did, but the woman didn't get anything said to her in advance. So like, bro, like dog didn't even know anything beforehand. So what are you even trying to say here? All right. Going to the fourth story is we're going to the subreddit off my chest, and it's about a poster saying that no one told me what was really wrong with my mom until I was almost 30, and it seems pretty serious. Let's take a look at what happened. I found out about 2 hours ago, and I am literally months away from being 30 years old. The ground I'm standing on feels like it's cracked. My mom was abusive to my siblings and I as children. I've spent extensive time trying to understand slash finding closure, specifically in therapy. She's obviously struggled with mental illness. When I was a child, she would have these mood swings and that I was never able to make sense of. She would also never forget to feed us for hours while she played games or talked to strangers on the internet. My dad would come home from a 14-hour workday and we would ask if he would feed us. She acts childish, withholds love when you've angered her, acts erratically, and would even spend hundreds of dollars over Christmas and then be furious at us when her bank account was negative coming January 1st. I just recently stopped hating Christmas actually, and she'd give us 10 minutes to clean the entire house and just beat us when the timer went off when it wasn't done. I wasn't allowed to make my bed with any wrinkles. I've been so angry with her, so angry for all the abuse, mental and physical. My grandparents and uncle, her only brother, knew. I just learned the reason why they came around was to make sure we were still alive. But they didn't think about the rest of the time we spent with her alone. Example, my dad's sister doesn't know the truth, at least that I know of. Saw how we hid under the table when we dropped the glass, spilling some sort of liquid on the floor. We hid under the table because we were scared of what my aunt would do to us, because we did something bad, which was spilling the glass. After that, my aunt called CPS, and she admitted what she did and why to me years later. But my grandparents and uncle, who actually knew everything, thought checking in every so often to make sure we were still alive was enough. I feel a lot of guilt. My mom has always kind of acted like a teenager. My siblings and I don't have a mom. We have a quote unquote her. And she's just kind of unhinged sometimes. I've thought about adding a couple of stories to give clarity in what I mean by that, but it gets too convoluted as this is already long. I've always assumed mental abuse as a child that stunted her with mental development. I have pretty serious trust issues. I've been making progress on working through them. Again, in therapy. I just took 10 steps back. Did she have friends that knew? Other family members? How many people could have stepped in and helped my siblings and me? My dad has known since last fall, 2024, and he didn't tell me either. They are divorced and he lives very separate from her. But why is this relevant? I have a 2-year-old son. My mom and her boyfriend have babysat him, and I feel betrayed. And I point blank put my child at risk by letting her watch him. I'm so angry at myself and everyone else. Grandparents, uncle, dad. My mom and I have spent a lot of time working past who she was to me when I was small. I know she experienced a lot of childhood trauma and struggled mentally with the workload of being a SAHM to 4 kids with no support system. I thought she was working through it. I thought she was making progress through the mental stuff, that she could have chunks of time with my kiddo, as long as she babysat him in our apartment, where there were cameras so we could check in. I thought our relationship was a tunnel and we could come out the other end. I just found the dead end. There's no sunny other side, and she cannot change who she is. What I just learned, and my grandparents admitted this to my sister, so this is all secondhand. And my sister called me right after they left her place. My mom fell off a horse at 16 or 17 and was pronounced brain dead due to it crushing her skull. She spent months in a coma, and when she did end up waking up and going home, It was with paperwork outlining and what would be different about her for the rest of her life. Something along the lines of her need for dopamine, chasing things that give it to her, and her experiencing mood swings when she doesn't get that dopamine. She met my dad less than a year later and had me less than a year after meeting my dad. I feel so many things. I set up an urgent appointment with my therapist for Thursday, and I just needed to throw this into the void. How do you not find out your mom had severe brain injury until you're almost 30? How did I never even think that it could be something like this when it makes perfect sense? How could I be so angry with her when she has no control? How could I be so irresponsible by letting my mom watch my son? Update. There's been a lot of digging into my mom's family, so I didn't go into this initially, but it's worth noting. One, I have almost no contact with them already. I will not expose my son to the things that I see a professional for, and a lot of it is my mom's family. He deserves better and will have better. Two, while I am not a licensed professional who is qualified to diagnose, my uncle is the closest thing I've ever met to a super toxic, aggressive narcissist. My husband and I went over to his place once after my son was born, and we didn't feel welcome. I wasn't a kid that ever felt wanted and refused to expose my son to family members that make him feel less than absolutely loved. My grandparents feel like sharing. Oh, this is the third one. My grandparents feel like sharing. It's mostly my grandpa because he was recently diagnosed with cancer. Past year ish, and it keeps coming back. The reason my dad found out about all of this a year ago was because my grandpa called him and apologized for quote unquote pawning his ill daughter off of him. This was quite a story, really, because this deals with a lot of stuff. Like a whole lot of stuff, man. But OP here, OP here didn't know that his mom did fell off the horse when she was 16 or 17, and that pronounced why she's acting like this because of the dopamine. But the things that the woman did, the mom did, abusing her child, doing all of these things, and that's just not right, man. That's just really wrong, and you should never do that to your child or to whomever person, to never abuse them and to never do those kinds of things. That's just really rude. No, 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 not really rude. That's just godforsaken awful. Yeah, not really rude. What the hell? I am so sorry for saying not really rude. No, I'm changing that. It's freaking awful. It's bad. It's bad, man. It's so bad. I don't know why I said that. I don't know why I said freaking rude. Like, dude, that's. Oh, you're being rude? Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Talk. Let's move on to the next story. All right. Moving on to the fifth story is we're going to the subreddit again called Off My Chest, and it's about OP saying that I don't empathize with my husband's depression. Ooh, this is gonna be a kicker, man. Shoot. Let's see what happens. My husband and I have been married for 10 years, together for 16. We started dating in high school and got married young. I've struggled with depression my entire life, and while I was in the depths of my depression, my husband was honestly so sweet and supportive. I've since gotten a new job that I enjoy, and I've been to therapy, and I found a medication that helps keep my depression at a manageable level. Here's the thing though, my husband is an own copycat. Now I'm feeling sick, and he's just 10 times sicker, but only after I say out loud that I'm not feeling well. In high school, my grandma died, but the situation was worse because he had to fail a test that same week, and I ignored the red flags and I regret it. While I was deeply depressed, he never copied me. Now that's my depression is under control. However, suddenly he is experiencing symptoms of depression, and I try to be compassionate and supportive, But it's challenging because he doesn't accept my compassion. He just gets combative and argumentative. We went on a vacation over the long weekend. The entire time, he was like a cartoon character trying their hardest to emote quote unquote sad. I'm talking about feet dragging, shoulders slumped, head down, bottom lip poking out, and he either didn't speak to me or complain about whatever we were doing at the time. When I could get out of him what was wrong, every time he just cited a minor incident at work. He's a teacher, and one of his students ditched class. That's it. I feel like he made it so that I couldn't enjoy my vacation because he was upset about a kid doing a typical kid behavior. Now that we're home, I'm putting some space between us, and he's pissed. And he tried to guilt trip me by saying that he sat in the shower and cried the whole time, that I was in another room. He points out how nice he was to me when I was depressed, and he says all he wants is for me to be there for him, hug him, and comfort him. That all sounds well and good, but I don't particularly want to comfort and cuddle the guy who couldn't set aside one student's minor misbehavior just long enough for us to have an enjoyable vacation. I know this makes me sound like a terrible person, and maybe he truly is depressed, but to me, it feels like he's choosing to fixate on life's little disappointments and refusing to take any kind of advice or accept any comfort. Maybe I'm just bitter because my depression is better, and now suddenly it feels like I'm back in it, but just through him. Maybe I'm resentful because my depression was triggered by years of trauma and abuse, and his seems to be triggered by normal everyday annoyances. Maybe I'm at fault here, but that doesn't make it less frustrating. Today, I'm less mad about how he acted on vacation. When he gets home today, I'll comfort him and dote on him and hopefully patch things up. But for now, I just need to get off my chest on how frustrating it is to living like this. OP here is it's a bit of a tricky situation really because it's your partner still, and if your partner is going through something, like you gotta be there for them. But knowing the backstory here, it's kind of like a 50-50 situation that I'm here right now. What would you say really? Like, would you like agree would you agree that the husband is um the husband is like making it a competition, or would you disagree that the husband is really going through a lot of things and they're just really sad? But at the same time, because depression is like always being used in so many different scenarios now. Like a person can just say that um I don't know, their pencil fell. Now they're depressed. I feel like depression is much more deeper than that. It's really much more deeper than that. It's not just being sad and mopey all the time. It's heavily much more deeper than that. So I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm really curious, honestly, on what your guys' interpretation of this story. It's quite fascinating, really. Going on to Reddit story 6 is that we're going back to the subreddit of my chest, and we have Opie here saying that my boyfriend broke up with me because of an old account. Ooh, I wonder what happens. My boyfriend just broke up with me because he found an old Twitter account that I used to have. Men would pay me to degrade them, and there were photos and videos of me in a wig wearing provocative clothing, but nothing nude. It was easy money at the time, and I never had to take my clothes off. I made the account in 2021 and only used it seriously for a couple months. I did make a few tweets in the following years, but I haven't done anything like that in a long time. And he somehow found the account and broke up with me for it, despite me explaining how it was in my past. I'm heartbroken and wish he could understand that I'm a different person now. This is quite a short story, but I just want to say a few things. Um, the guy is the guy had his own reasons. He probably didn't like that his girlfriend was doing these kinds of things, and that maybe ticked him off and he just wanted to go on his own way. But at the same time, this could have just been dealt with proper communication and proper understanding as well, because this was the woman was doing this for a while now, really, and or was doing this for way long now. So it's not really like they were doing this now, or they were doing this at the time that they were in the relationship. No, this was just something in the past. And the boyfriend could have just accepted, like, hey, the person had this kind of history, they used to do this kind of things. It wasn't really that extreme or explicit, but they used to do it before because it was easy money, and it was just that. And the boyfriend could have just took that as a sign, like, okay, so they had a history, and all right. But the guy took it in a different manner, and it's understandable. He had his own reasons, but it would have just been dealt with if, just proper communication and understanding, really. Going to Reddit story number 7 is we're going back to the subreddit off my chest, and it's gonna be another short one. So it's gonna be about there's nothing worse than losing track of time at the club and then the lights come on. Okay, this seems this seems a bit scary, but I don't know where it's gonna go. Let's read it. One of the worst feelings ever is being at the club, completely in the zone, dancing, drinking, and having a great time, but then realizing you've totally lost your sense of time. You are caught up in the music and laughing with your friends, and everything just feels alive. And then out of nowhere, they flip on the bright lights. It's the most jarring switch ever. 1 second, you're in this dark, loud, fun atmosphere where the night feels endless, and then the next second, it's just binding lights and awkward silence. The magic vibe just disappears instantly, and you're hit with the reality with that the night is officially over. It feels like the club equivalent of a um, record scratch because it kills the mood instantly. And what makes it worse is when you thought it was still kind of an early, only to realize it's just 3 a.m. and the whole night flew by in what felt like minutes. Personally, I have never went to a club before, so I don't know what this feels like. Maybe some of you guys listening have went to a club, so you can relate to this story. But I can somehow picture it, like, the club is very dark, it's very loud, it's like, you're just having fun, dancing, drinking, all those kinds of stuff. And maybe because of that, like when the lights turn on, it's like you're back to reality. Like in some way, going out clubbing is like an escape from reality. That's how I see it, really. Like you just want to escape from the intense of life and just party it out, that kind of thing. I feel like that's what clubbing is, really. I don't know. I've never went out clubbing, so I don't know what I'm saying. But I think that's how it goes. All right, moving on to Reddit story number 8. We got a really short one again, but I don't know. I'm finding these interesting stories very short. So it's about OP saying that 10 years together and my boyfriend never thought of settling down. Okay, I wonder how this will go. I, 30F, and my boyfriend, 33M, have been together for almost 10 years, and he's still not sure if he wants to settle down or not. I recently opened up this topic with him. Since I'm in my 30s now and I'm already thinking about starting a family, when I asked him when he will propose, he just shrugged his shoulders and said, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. That left me speechless, but I will still try to keep myself calm. We never really get anywhere when I open this topic because he's just not responsive at all and just keeps on sighing. I am now rethinking everything and I as well scared if I have to start over and just might be too late. This is, this is, I don't know what to think about this really. It's kind of like scary because imagine being in a relationship for this long, 10 years, man. That's so long. Like I'm pretty sure at that point you would understand that, you really like this person, maybe you want to marry them, maybe settle down. That's what the story is about. But still being unsure about that, I don't know. I don't know. It feels odd. But at the same time, but at the same time, I want to put it into the perspective of the guy. Like, I, I don't even know what to think about the guy. Like, I'm still just thinking about this is 10 years, dog. You're 10 years inside in the relationship, and you're still unsure if you want to settle down with the woman that you've been with for 10 years. Like, dude, like have a reality check basically, and just I don't know, man. This is just something, and my 2 cents for this is that the guy should make up his mind and just say what he wants, because this is 10 years of a relationship, man. Imagine like just pulling the trigger and just breaking up just because of this thing. Like, dude, that's just so long of a time. Like, Jesus, man, 10 years. That dude, I'm always baffled with people who's been in a relationship for that long. I swear. Like 8 years, 10 years, dude. Like at that point, I would pretty much expect that you guys would be settling down or be married, because that's that's pretty long. All right, going on to Reddit story number 9. And we have a story from subreddit Off My Chest. And OP says here that I wish I never saw what I saw on my boyfriend's phone, but I'm glad I did. Ooh, this is interesting. I wonder what happens. Let's read it through. I, 22F, black, am in an interracial relationship with my boyfriend, 23M white. We have been together for about 2 years, and a couple nights ago we had the weirdest argument. He wanted to hang out with friends, and his car is in the shop. So I drove him to the gas station and bought him some beers for the party. I got myself wine to relax and play Red Dead Redemption 2. I've just been obsessed, and dropped him off. I was invited, but I do not like his friends. Later, he Ubers home drunk, throws up, and I start playfully teasing about it. Then he tries to exit my game. I thought he was joking, so I quote unquote fought back and saved. But then he completely shut off the PC. It was just so random and out of character. That and after that we just went to bed. I asked him why, and he started saying things like, I'm sorry, I'm not like Arthur Morgan, and bringing up insecurities about his looks. I said, quote, you're being dumb, and I love you regardless, quote, because I didn't know what else to say. I was so confused as to where this was coming from, really. He even didn't like that, and he was still being such a pissy and saying that I was calling him dumb, so I went to sleep on the couch. When I came back later, he was passed out. I had a gut feeling and searched my name in his messages, and I found texts from 6 months ago when we briefly broke up. where his best friend told him, quote, I don't think she's the one for you, quote, and I don't like the things she's pressuring you to do. I have no clue what that means, and I feel our relationship is even. I like going out to bars and restaurants with or without him, and if he comes along, sometimes I pay and sometimes he does. I also do most of the cooking and cleaning and even prepping his meals for the week while working and keeping the house clean, the quote unquote woman work. I also saw him saying it was quote unquote disgusting that I was becoming obese after birth control. I am not obese. I just went from severely underweight to mid-size, size 0 to size 6. And then I checked his group chats. His friends are all white and already making me uncomfortable by saying the N word and making insensitive comments in my vicinity. And the first time I met them, I never wanted to be around with them after. In the chat, they were sharing appalling memes like George Floyd jokes, Jewish jokes, and using the N word casually. My boyfriend even sent a meme of a Pokemon card saying, catching a negress. His best friend, the one who said those things about me in the text, and who I felt more comfortable around because he was biracial siblings, was in there too, sharing offensive memes. I wish I never would have seen it because now I cannot unsee it. But I am also glad I did. How can I even marry him or bring a biracial child into his world knowing their father is like this behind the scenes? I'm sure if I brought it up, he would apologize and try to quote unquote fix it. But I do not know. If I could ever look past it, I am gutted. We live together with his family who lets us stay for free. And we have two cats together. And it will take me a couple of months to save and move out. He can tell something is wrong, but I am completely turned off by him now at this point, and I do not know when or how to tell him what I saw. Update: today's confrontation. So, after spending a couple of days away and being with friends, I finally opened up about the situation despite feeling embarrassed. I think it really comes down to a complete difference in morals. I view my partner as an extension of me. I view my friends the same way. If anyone in my circle spoke like his friends do, I'd be disgusted and cut them off immediately, whether it was private or in front of me. My boyfriend says he never heard his friends talk like that near me. I don't remember if he was there when it happened, but I know I called him out in the moment, kind of joking to lighten it, but still uncomfortable and grossed out. I didn't want to flip out and look like the angry black girl, especially since they are already racist. One of them did apologize after I said something, but that doesn't change the fact that they are all complicit. He knew exactly what his friends were like and still chose to bring me around them. Do I think my boyfriend is racist? No. Do I think he's spineless with no moral code? Absolutely. I don't remember exactly what the meme he sent was because I was a bottle of wine deep and already upset after our fight. And seeing him and his friends and his best friend talking bad about my weight, I had to scroll a bit in their group chat to even find something he sent. And I'm not sure how old it was. It could have been a year ago or just a few months. But still, the fact that he's in that group at all means he's again complicit. Almost every day, someone's saying the N word. When we talked, I also brought up that if we ever get married and have all of our friends and family together, I would never allow his friends anywhere near the people I love, especially if there were kids in the mix. He agreed and he said he'd never consider having them at our wedding or around future children. But that just makes me wonder, if you agree they are that bad, why would you ever bring me around them in the first place? I truly haven't accepted any invites to be around the friends who did slash said the really vile stuff since the first time I met them about 2 years ago. There are some, and I don't mind as much, except for the BFF who joined in on the weight comments and ironically as biracial siblings. But at the end of the day, and they're all still incomplicit. After talking to my friends, A lot of them were disgusted too, and encouraged me to break up with him. They even reminded me that I'd have places to stay if I needed it. I thought about it on the drive home and just broke down. The thought of ending things, moving, and untangling my life from his feelings just overwhelms me. I'm not in the best financial situation right now, and it would take months to get my ducks in a row. I was already feeling pressure to confront him because I just couldn't keep pretending everything was fine to his face. I came home planning to break it off. I started the convo, already breaking down, and couldn't bring myself to say explicitly that I wanted to break up. I did. I did start by calling him and admitting to snooping, and I told him how appalled and disappointed I was. He doesn't think it's his fault that his friends say these things in hopes I would assume he agrees with them just because they are quote unquote dumb. He admitted he doesn't really see them as friends, just quote unquote drinking buddies, which doesn't make it any better. They only hang out a few times a year, besides the BFF and some guys I don't mind. But they've known each other since childhood, and he says he's scared of being friendless. He also said they make fun of him too, and he's bad at defending himself. But still, why would you keep people like that in your life? He told me one of them made him uncomfortable that same night. I saw the messages, and apparently everyone was drinking, and one friend sexually harassed him and asking my boyfriend to sleep with him. And some other guys made quote unquote jungle fever comments about him dating me. He says he spent a lot of the night alone in the pool to avoid them. I told him I understand being non confrontational to a point, but I would hope that even if he doesn't respect himself enough to stand up to them, he would at least respect me enough to do it for me. I've stuck up for him before. Once, when his friend was talking bad about him in the same group chat, he showed me, and I grabbed his phone and went off on the guy right there and then. But here I am, feeling like he wouldn't do the same for me. I told him flat out, you told me you think me gaining weight is unattractive. Now I've been working on it. I've lost 15 pounds since he said that 6 months ago. And on the flip side, I don't think it's attractive to have no respect for yourself or for me, and to be complicit in this friendship while dating a black woman. He said that he would confront or talk to them. But regardless, why did it take all of this for him to make that decision? Right now, I feel disgusted and embarrassed that this is a person I chose. I'm terrified about my living situation and feel like I've backed myself into a corner. Yes, I could crash out with my friends, but that would delay me getting my own place. Living rent free here has been helping me pay off credit cards and repair my credit, which is already bad thanks to an 18-year-old me. My car is already barely hanging on. I've been trying to fix it before moving, and breaking up sounds simple on paper, but for me it's complicated. For now, I'm keeping things cordial, just to have a roof over my head while I figure out my next steps. Trust me, I'm just as disgusted and disappointed as anyone else reading this. Too long didn't read, took time away, talked to friends, and realized my boyfriend's lack of backbone with his racist friend is a deal breaker. He says he wouldn't have them at our wedding or around future kids, but still brought me around them in the past and stays in their group chat. He's going to confront them. I haven't broken up yet because I'm stuck living with him while I'm sort of out of my finances. But I'm still disgusted. OP here needs to break up with a guy. Just simple. Just simple as that. Because I'm gonna give my 2 cents. I always give my 2 cents at the end of these stories. So yeah, because I do believe in the fact that with who you surround yourself with is how you the person is also going to act. So if you surround yourself with people with, let's say, who does bad things, then you is also going to get influenced and you are also going to do bad things. So if you have a friend group who says these kinds of things, who belittles people, who says racist remarks to people, who even says like rude stuff to people, then that shows also how you are as a person, how basically you act to also to people. That's just how it works, really. Because of course, how your environment is reflects to how you are as a person. So this guy is knowing that he's saying that he he's like sticking up to these people, and he just now says that he's now gonna confront them after the woman or the girlfriend says that, hey, I don't like your friends. And now that he realizes this, it's like, bro, can't you see like what's going on? Like, your friend group is like this, and it's not good. Like, and him also joining in on the fact being racist is just so blatantly disgusting, man. I swear. This is just like OP here needs to break up with the guy. It's just disgusting, honestly. All right, moving on to Reddit story number 10 is we're going to the subreddit Off My Chest, and Opie says here that I pretended to be mute for 3 months and now I can't stop. Now this reminds me of VR chat, but I wonder how this will go. This started as a stupid joke, and now it's my actual life. Before anyone calls me stupid or pathetic, just hear me out. Back in November, I moved into a new apartment building. On my very first day, I bumped into my neighbor in the hallway, and for some reason, I still don't understand, and I pretended that I couldn't talk. I just nodded, smiled, and did the little hand gestures, and I thought it was funny at the same time. Like a dumb bit I'd drop later. Except, I never dropped it. For 3 months now, everyone on my floor thinks I'm mute. People hold doors for me, wave, and sometimes even slow down their speech like I don't understand English. One guy even learned some basic sign languages just to quote unquote chat with me. And the worst part, I kind of like it. It feels easier than small talk. But now the lie is too deep, and I can't suddenly just quote unquote start talking one day without looking like a total psycho. Last week, I was in the lobby and one of my neighbors tripped. Instinctively, I yelled, "Oh, shoot!" And the whole place went dead silent. Three people just stared at me like I performed a miracle. I ran back to my apartment and haven't left since. Woo! Well, OP here placed themselves in a very tight situation. Like, you can't escape that anymore, man. Like, I mean, you already did your deed. Like, you already said, "Oh shoot." So you're already caught up in the incident. But if OP didn't say that, I wonder what else those neighbors would do. Cause this is this is quite interesting though. Like, imagine you just pretended to be, just not talk for a bit, and then people in your floor now thinks that you're mute, and now this comes up in like a few months in, and now you can't stop it. Wow, actually, now that I think about it, how would you think? Like, how would you think that the neighbor would think like after? Like, let's say OP did say this, like, hey, like just comes to a neighbor and says, "Hey, hey." Like, like OP can just come to a neighbor and says like, I don't know what they could say. Maybe they could nudge them or tap them on the shoulder and say, "Hey." How would you think the neighbor would think? They would probably like, they would be so surprised, and I don't know. Like, it's they're probably gonna say, "Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been acting mute for this long now, and I can't take this any longer." Would you think that neighbor would be angry, or would you think that they would be like weirded out or something? I don't know. I don't know. It's just an interesting thought, and I don't know how it would go. I got pretty intrigued by this, really. All right, so those were the 10 Reddit stories that we read for this day. And what do you guys think? Which story did you guys like? Because there was a few stories there that was an interesting read, honestly. Some were interesting and some were, it got a little bit serious, really, but it was really fascinating to read these. And I wonder what you guys think about this. Would you guys like me to read more stories, or perhaps, you guys have some stories that you guys would like me to read? I would love to do that. It could be any kind of story. Maybe you have a deep dark story that you want to tell, that you just want to get out of your chest and want to hear someone say it, or it could be like just a random story that you just had and you just want to tell it. And if you do, let me know. I would really love to do that. But until then, I would probably make more of this, really, because this was really fun. This was really fun to do. I really like reading these Reddit stories, and I hope you guys also liked it as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.